Hello, welcome back to Ben Sushi Live Nodding. In this episode, I want to show you a couple of ways you can create some kind of arc. So this kind of arc is probably something you will see kind of like an entrance into a temple. So I look at a couple of example. There is this one. It's called Gopuram. I think it's in Indian. This is kind of Indian style of entrance. It's overly complicated at the top. There's something that's something similar in Bali. It's called Gapura. It's like an arc, but the middle part is kind of cut, which is kind of interesting as well. It's almost like you make like a building and you cut it in half, and then it's become an opening. But I think what we want to create here is just a simple arc. We always think at the simplest way to do it. So this method, this one, is basically I started with a circle, and with circle I just simply um, get 90 degrees of the circle, and here I use the factory wire to change the angle, and I'm using noise displays, UV connections, another noise displays. So this one, I say this one is slightly complicated, but this will work as well depending on what you're trying to create. And this one slightly abstract, but you can always simplify it. The thing with the node tree, the first time you do it, it's probably too complicated. The next time you do it, you simplify the result. You simplify the node tree and you get a similar result. So here I'm actually only focusing on the line shape, and we have the extrusion and kind of displacement. So this is really abstract. Depend on what you're trying to do. Maybe this is like, again, awfully complicated. And if you notice, I'm actually using mirror modifier. You can turn on bisect. So this is the original result from SquareChop, but I mirror it, and this is what we get. And you can always randomize the noise, things like that. You end up with all kind of different design. I don't know what this is called. It might be something that's a little bit modern, or maybe actually really primitive. So if you voxel remesh it, it looks slightly better, maybe. So that's one way. You might notice I have another way, another method here. This one slightly less aesthetic. It's using a bit of extrusion of. So we start with basically with a random line, and then I extrude the edge, and then I solidify in or out. This is also probably the wrong way to do it, but still it's interesting, and I actually have colorized it. Probably not the most beautiful, but there's another way to think of this bridge or arc. This one is actually simpler. So circle, in this case I took 180 degree of the circle. I don't make like only quarter of it, I make half of it, and I didn't rewire it. I simply drop it on the floor before I later rotate it 90 degree. So originally it's flat on the floor. I like it flat like this because if it's flat, if the shape is flat on the floor, you can use offset line. So this node is very important, and on top of that you probably can have there's another one, contour. You can use contour 2D to get a clean shape. Think of try this one. So I still have noise displays. You can see the result is slightly more aesthetic. It can be a gate of some sort. It's not a bridge, but it's a gate. Okay, I often get those slightly confused. But here I'm actually using mirror modifier. So originally it's just a shape, but if you make it symmetrical with a mirror and you turn on bisect, it's cleaner. So this is kind of something that I want to achieve. It's very simple. That's one thing. You can actually expand this if you like. Maybe apply matrix, apply and scale it. Oh yeah, scale in the, so not in the Z, scale it in the X, scale it in the Y. This will have effect on the noise itself. So I'm really relying on the noise displays. So we start with a simple circle shape, okay, circle, and I'm only using half basically, so it's becoming like this. We don't actually need the base part, but I'll keep it anyway. So we have the number of vertices here that we can play around with. You don't need that many. This is like kind of like a modern looking gate. If you add more, it's more intricate. And the offset line simply offset the original line, and you get a thickness on the shape. And then of course I rotate it 90 degrees at the end, so it's becoming like a gate. At this point you can really just use array in the y-axis, something like that. You know, it's a gate of some sort. It can be just a single gate, and you can simply boolean the bottom part if you don't want that. So I think this is kind of interesting. And then you can bevel this and perhaps add more other kind of details, but just an idea, you know, how to build some kind of arc. So this looks slightly modern. So see, if I grow the circle, we get different kind of feel. It's very kind of like architectural study, but I'm not an architect, so I'm really just testing the shape and the nodes. So I've been using cell noise. You can use others, Voronoi, Crackle. I don't know what's gonna be the final result. It's all depending on this noise that you give, and then you can play around with the scale as well. So the shapes that I use, probably it's also quite simple, where in fact you can add more intricate details into this, like this from Bali. If you have been to Bali, so it's not simply a shape, but the basic shape is there. Or maybe you need, in this case, you need to cut it in half, but it's completely different thing. Arc in architecture, or actually instead of using at the arc, so this is arc de Trompe. Okay, with most of the arc, seems like you probably better off with something that's kind of squarish, and then you make a cut. So that's actually a proper way to create a gate or like a door or entrance. What I'm creating is probably something else. Maybe it's more for a bridge or a tunnel. Kind of guessing. So maybe beautiful doors in architecture. So doors is an interesting one. Okay. Yeah, I guess in a way I'm trying to make all this procedurally, like this kind of thing. It's a nice door entrance, but all the details can be overcomplicated. Yeah, definitely there's something here that can be improved, but I'm just giving you the basic. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.